Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Whether you're joining us from. We are here for episode 44.
Your mic, Jesse.
My mic, you can't hear me?
It's good now. It's good.
We're
Was I breaking up?
a
Yeah,
little low.
perfect now. Welcome back, guys.
Oh, okay. I've
Low
got good
on mine.
internet, so
We're just
I'll go again. Welcome to episode 44 of the Metaverse Nomads live stream, where we're here talking about all things happening within the metaverse. We also spent a lot of time focusing on some of our favorite projects. And we've just got a light show today, and there's three of us here. How are you guys doing? Fancy Head, what's going on, man?
Yeah, happy to be here with everyone.
Yes, indeed. How you doing,
Nice.
Ray?
doing all right, man. I was absent last week, and I have to catch up on a couple of things, but I'm doing good, and I'm glad to be back this week. And yeah, has the markets recovered yet? Devs, do something.
Devs, right? When? No doubt, man. Yeah, interesting times for sure. So we've got a bit of news. We've got a little bit of info on some of the projects that we follow. And then I've got something that I wanted to throw in as a little bit extra that I talked about a couple weeks ago, but I don't want to mention it right now. We'll just find our way into it as we get into the news.
Yeah, and there's quite a bit of
Awesome.
it this week. To start us off, there was one story that I'll just leave without context as we go into it.
What can you tell us about your project B and how it will help people get rich right now?
Today we are launching an investment project that is working right now if you see this video. Absolutely everyone can earn it. Everything is very simple. You invest your money in Bitcoin. For TeslaTreebot.net is our bot, after which everyone who invested their cryptocurrency will be able to receive exactly 30% of dividends every day from the investment money.
How long will it take for dividends to arrive?
I'm sure that from 3 months.
Is the number of seats unlimited?
Yes, absolutely.
What can you tell us about your project?
So that was a deep fake video promoting a cryptocurrency scam that was quite realistic, really, but seemed to be more confident than the really
They're
long.
about like 65% of the way there.
Yeah.
I thought everything on the internet was believable.
Yeah, I got sent around quite a bit. Elon said, yeah, definitely not me. It was like taken from an interview and just lip synced over with, yeah, it's really cool, honestly, if it wasn't put to such nefarious purposes.
Right? Yeah, man, that's kind of where we're at. You know, over the past couple months, I've been in the process of creating course content material about all things metaverse, you know, as we're in this lull and move into the bear market, and you know, all the projects are kind of moving along a little bit of at a snail's pace, it seems. Now, I figured it would be a good time to work on some stuff that helps to educate the masses, to move people from Web 2 to Web 3 as Web 3 unfolds. So in some of that research, I really started to pay more attention to some of the projects and new developments in artificial intelligence and machine learning. And there's just a ton of stuff out there. And of course, we're all familiar with the memes and things that we see from deep fakes, Tom Cruise and Morgan Freeman, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all the different ones that have, you know, made the top of the meme lists out there. But you know, and as we saw there, someone attempting to do the same with Elon. So it's not just what they're doing with facial features, but also what they're able to do with voice now. And that one was kind of crude in the voice side of it. I think they could have done a whole lot better with that.
Yeah, paired with one of them attacks where they take over someone's account. But if that was posted from like the real Elon account, that would get a lot of people.
Yeah. So, I mean, but
Right.
what I think of when I see that kind of stuff is, yes, you have the nefarious criminal element of how people will use technology in ways that are frightening. You know, I mean, and imagine if we see this, imagine what high levels of government are able to create, you know, for propaganda, for reasons to go to war and things like that. That's where it gets scary. But where I think that it gets interesting is for how we will be able to create experiences within the metaverse. For example, like I always like to think in terms of, you guys have seen like movies or shows like the Orville, Star Trek, and others where they have a holodeck. Or essentially, you just tell the computer, give us a 14th century whatever, and set the stage for that. And the computer, through its machine learning and understanding of semantics, is able to understand the context of what you're asking for. And so based on that, it's able to create an environment. And what's interesting is that I don't think that we're so far off from being able to do that. When I say so far off, I mean, we're able to do it in the next couple of years, probably not so, but you got to remember, it's only been 50 years from Pong with, 2 paddles and a ball blipping across the screen, just a half a century between that and what we see now with Unreal Engine. So that's what we've been able to do in a half a century. So it would stand to reason that what we see in the next half a century, especially the way technology compounds exponentially, we're going to see some amazing stuff. So one of the things I wanted to take just a quick look at, for those of you that may or may not be familiar with a project called DALL-E 2, it's one that I think is pretty fascinating because it means that we're, again, not that far off from being able to simply tell a computer what we want it to show for us. And right now it's doing that really well in imagery, but pretty soon we'll be able to see that in video as well. It's not far off in video. So let me share my screen here. This is actually the Instagram page that DALL-E 2, the project, runs. And on that page,
yeah, they're sharing a lot of cool stuff. I think one of my favorites was a shrimp horse.
A shrimp horse?
Yeah, it was terrifying.
So what we're looking at is that these are all things that are computer generated with just regular language giving them the information to start with. Like this one here, we'll take a look at this eye. The eye of a rose. So basically that's the information that was given to DALL-E, and DALL-E 2 was able to create that. Another one here where, what do we got? A steampunk Furby 3D render with studio lighting. And this is what the computer came up with. I mean, with just that much of instruction, just that much of a description.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I actually,
a samurai meditating in an Edo period. What were you going to say?
No, I was talking about this actually. I went to a company retreat for a Nifty Island, and that was just this past week, and it was interesting. There was a lot of developers there, and I introduced some, but some already knew about the technology with DALL-E, and their main concerns were with any of these types of technologies, which will be, here as they are already, but I guess more so in the future. It was more so of the rendering time was a question of like, how long does it take and how far along are they? Because the video itself is interesting and it's intriguing, but it's just like, how far are they really? If they're not showing any metrics or things that were measurable, it's just what it can do and what it does for what the evidence shows on this Instagram page. But nevertheless, it isn't just going to disappear tomorrow. So prepare yourselves for the future.
Right. Well, I think that's the case with all technology, is that you have some new leaps forward in what it is capable of, but can you actually use it in practical application, like real-time rendering? But it would even, I'll give you an instance where I think it would be kind of cool, is like, even if you had the ability on your Starship and Star Atlas, where you might have, the Rainbow Ohm, where I think that's the one that has art gallery, but you have a space in there where you literally just tell it what picture, what do you want that image to be on the wall? You could have that there. We're a long way off from, like in this case here, a photo of a confident, oversized grizzly bear dressed in an abstract high fashion outfit, wearing sunglasses on the fashion runway at Paris Fashion Week. So that's a long description, but the computer was able to come up with something for it. Now you also, and there's a long wait list for people to be able to use this. So I can't tell you how long it takes to generate an image, but it's just fascinating that the thing that's most fascinating about this is not how we will use it today, but just that we're at the stage of machine learning where computers can understand context. And that's really what Web 3 is going to be. Other than being decentralized and being open and all these other things, it's also going to be a semantic web. It's going to be a web where most of the communication that takes place on the web is going to be from machine to machine. And it's going to continue to evolve that way to where machine learning is going to learn how to manage the data to where then you could, just like we see the instances of with Siri and with Alexa, where you can kind of just give a little bit of instruction and get some information back. We're close to having that be substantially greater than that, which brings me to another example of something that I think is pretty cool. I'll bring that up here now. This is a program that is based on GPT-3, and this is what a lot of companies use this now for AI and machine learning built into the way that their bots work, the way that Alexa, the way that Siri works. They all use subsets of this database. I happen to use this when I'm doing research. I actually use this program nearly as much as I use Google, because Google gives you search results that have context that may not necessarily be related to or be relevant to what you're asking for. And I can get much more relevant results out of this here. And you can do all kinds of interesting things with it. Like if I was just say, how are deepfakes created, and submit that as a question, it will respond back with, deepfakes are created by using machine learning algorithms to generate new images or videos that mimic the appearance of another person. So you could have a series of questions. I could say something like,
what is the meaning of life?
Yeah. Or explain quantum physics to a second grader. And it will literally take into context that it's talking to a second grader, as opposed to if I said, explain quantum physics to a college student. So the context changes when it's considering who it's for. So you've got a bunch of presets here and things you can do. Like I said, summarize for a second grader. I could say, write an essay on a topic. There's just tons of different examples that this program can use, but I use it as a research model when I'm looking up certain things. And it's just a fascinating example of AI use. Now, where would this apply again? It's like, again, it reminds me of Star Trek, where you're just like, computer, and then you're asking a question. And of course, we've seen that over the years with Alexa and with Siri, but it is evolving and it's getting better and better and better. One of the other things that kind of relates to when we were looking at that first deep fake of Elon Musk that I thought was pretty interesting. And we've got two videos for this. And I'll play one first, then you can play the second one, Fancy, because I did load one up here. And what's interesting about it is that voice is also taking on new levels of intelligence, the way that you can use it. Let's say, for example, that you are in an MMORPG and you want to have voice talk to other people, but you're playing an orc and you want your voice to sound like it's an orc and you're just talking in real time. There's technology now that allows that to actually happen. So let me give you an example.
And action.
The voice is an instrument, but like any instrument, there are limits to what can be played. Altered Studio can remove those limits.
I could be an explorer.
I could be a hunter.
Maybe I want to be a wizard.
Good Lord, for now.
The truth is, I can be anyone. All I need is one tool: my voice. Altered Studio allows me to be more creative. These are characters from a game that my team are working on. I want to bring these characters to life and see what they could sound like. In Altered Studio, all I have to do is talk. Their defenses are weakened. Quick, attack now. It'll take
More than that to keep me out of the fight.
Oh yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, that
So
was
just
awesome.
an example of on the voice side of things that will be pretty cool. Like when you think of like in Ready Player One, for example, you know, like I forget the character's name, but uh, in the movie where she ended up being a woman, her voice was altered to kind of match whatever she wanted it to be. So this is an instance where you could see that happening. So not only can we've already seen like where people can alter their image, but now you can layer on top of that, alter your voice to match your character. So there's so much cool stuff that's on the horizon. And I mean, at every turn, AI is just taking new leaps and bounds. And the way that's going to be applied to the metaverse is going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was crazy, especially the orc voice.
Right?
Yeah.
It could save a lot of money in voice acting as well.
Yeah, an example of that is
It
that
was a little
clip that
choppy on my end, but
you've got that clip,
go ahead.
Fancy.
There must be a delay on my end.
Yeah, it's definitely on your end, Ray.
So, the good news is that we've got enough fuel to make it there and back. If we slingshot around this moon here when it reaches the edge of our orbit. The bad news is we don't have enough oxygen. So either we jettison half the crew or we put them in stasis until we reach home. I'm easy either way.
So that was the original.
So, the good news is that we've got enough fuel to make it there and back. If we slingshot around this moon here when it reaches the edge of our orbit. The bad news is we don't have enough oxygen. So either we jettison half the crew or we put them in stasis until we reach home. I'm easy either way.
So, the good news is that we've got enough fuel to make it there and back. If we slingshot around this moon here when it reaches the edge of our orbit. The bad news is we don't have enough oxygen. So either we jettison half the crew or we put them in stasis until we reach home. I'm easy either way.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. Not only if it was to alter your voice to sound like an orc, or maybe to speak in, you know, the Elven language, something like that. That would be pretty cool if you actually could do that on the fly. And why wouldn't you be able to if it's able to take a voice and completely alter it to sound male, to sound female, to sound, you know, like you know, some creature. Yeah, it's pretty fascinating. So that's all.
Yeah,
I really
I think the movie industry is going to be flipped on its head.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of that, one of the things that I saw here recently, which is pretty amazing, is talking about real life holodecks. And now what they're starting to do, you know, like in the past, what you would do with a movie is you would shoot in just with green screen all around you. Now I can imagine as an actor, that's probably a little challenging to get into role, you know, like you're out in space or, you know, you're in the jungle when it's just this green mesh all around you. Well, now they actually have these, I think they're called light walls, where these massive walls where the entire studio has a wall that has a screen, and that screen now can be whatever environment. So, I mean, that would do wonders for helping actors actually get into their characters a lot easier. So you have to look that up, real world holodecks. It's pretty amazing.
For sure.
What else we got, Fancy? So there was also another video that was quite interesting, and yeah.
There is this graph about the balance sheet of the European Central Bank and the money that is on there now. And here it is. What I would like to show our viewers and ask the question about is, this is going over 8 trillion euros now. And isn't what you just told us about the cryptocurrencies, don't we see a gigantic bubble here on your balance sheet with the euro? And isn't this graph very nerve-wracking?
Well, I can tell you that there is 0 crypto assets in the balance sheet of the ECB.
That I know.
Point number one. Well, I just don't want any ambiguity about it.
Yeah.
But
there should be.
You have to think in terms of counterfactual. Not decided. On March 18th, when we put together the pandemic emergency program and then subsequently increased the volume of commitment that we made to the European Union economies, we would be in a devastated situation. So I don't regret any of that move that we took on that day, which was 4 months into my job, to significantly increase the size of the balance sheet, because that's all we had.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the economy would have collapsed, and it would have been even accelerated by a financial crisis.
Had to do it. It was
So,
the COVID crisis. You say that's what we
yes.
needed to do, but how do you get it?
It will come. It will come. In due course.
Pause that for a moment. That's literally like asking, the family that ran out of food why they wrote a bad check. They had an excuse for it. Like, the money's not there, but I needed it to get me. So therefore that was my justification. And it was 8 trillion euro. You guys need to catch up. Where's the US at like 30 trillion?
Yeah, I really like the long pause after they say it as well. It's dramatic. So,
and those young faces just looking at this lady thing like, what the heck are you talking about?
Would have collapsed, and it would have been even accelerated by a financial crisis.
You had to do it. It was the COVID crisis. You say that's what we needed to do, but how do you get it?
It will come. It will come. In due course. Yeah.
How?
In due course, it will come.
Yeah. But do you sleep at night when you see this?
Of course, I have to sleep at night, and I have to worry every morning.
Awkward.
Over here.
I was wondering for yourself.
No, I don't, because I want to practice what I preach.
And then
I know how it works, and I actually have a son who invested in crypto. Yes, so I followed very carefully.
And what have you taken away from that?
That I would not put my finger in there.
And he didn't listen to your advice.
No.
No.
He's a free man.
He is. Yeah. Did he lose a lot?
He wouldn't tell me.
That is just nuts. Yeah. I mean, I'm just without words, but that, again, it just goes back to the fact that we are seeing the death throes of fiat currency and its use. Yeah, we just truly are. And so they're going to do everything in their power to gain control over digital currencies if they can.
Yeah, go on, Ray.
No, I have a mini delay here, but yeah, when I came across this video, I was just like, this has to be shown on the podcast this week, because it was just like, this has been a thing that's been happening for as long as we've been alive, and before that, as individuals. So yeah, it's just it's a matter of time until, and it goes to show that not everyone knows exactly what they need to do when they need to do it. It's almost like this is what every group of people who come into the fray are needing to deal with. And then, yeah, I guess we could get conspiratorial, but if there is not a master plan behind this, then prepare yourselves. But if there's going to be a slow transition into, there you go, the debt clock. If there's going to be a slow transition into everything being digital, and then ultimately more control being in the hands of the few or the governments or whoever you think, then we're closer to that than we might be as free individuals on planet Earth.
And they said they were talking about 8 trillion, and he's like, how are you going to resolve that? She's like, in due time, it'll work itself out. Yeah, that's what we've been saying back since we were around 8 trillion. Now it's at 30 and climbing. So yeah, there's no way this is going to be undone. This is just the death throes of fiat.
The next people will fix it.
Yeah,
it's built in. It was built in to be this way. We're here for the tech.
That's right.
So
what else we got?
On the Metaverse news this week, there was also the Terra 2.0 airdrop that happened. And yeah, it's very controversial. People are saying it's inviting regulators in. A lot of the people who are supposed to get their airdrops from these ratios are saying it's like hard to figure out how to claim the airdrop, or did they have it in the right place? It's a lot of questions.
So was it 30%? Was that right? Because right after you I wasn't paying attention, but right after you said that, I went and looked in my Binance account, and now it shows that I have exactly about a third or so, about a third of what I had before. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and price action. This was V1. We were quite familiar with this story by now, and we're on like a day almost of V2.
Yeah.
So it started at 14 and then slumped down to 4, and it's around 6 now. So yeah, there's a lot of liquidity being airdropped to people, so people are just going to be cashing out. Like, just depends on how long they take to figure it out, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't be people's exit liquidity money.
But what I noticed is that while they put the tokens within Binance, they don't seem accessible. So I don't know that that's been completely worked out so far.
Yeah,
I think Binance was the first to accept Luna 2.0. But yeah, I haven't been in the forefront of what's going on there. But all I know is that, yeah, the airdrop kind of had people confused, not knowing how to get it, and then whoever was there first to, I guess, sell out of what they had as far as an airdrop, then they can recoup some loss.
Yeah. Right now, Binance, it says Luna withdrawal suspended. The wallet is currently undergoing maintenance. Withdrawals for this asset will resume shortly. Estimated recovery time is sometime on the 31st. So a couple days from now.
There you go.
Yeah, and how long can this one last, I guess? So good luck to it.
Yeah, restoring confidence after something like that is pretty tough.
Yeah, and when something like this goes down, it brings everything else down with it, as we saw. Maybe not as much as everyone else thought it would, but yeah, it definitely hurt if you were in the crypto game.
Indeed. And I mean, that not only that, but then it makes you start looking around at other stable coins like Tether, because Tether has always had a shady history, you know, and no one really knows if they claim that there's adequate reserves, but they haven't been properly audited to be able to verify that. So wouldn't that be something if all of a sudden, you know, the bottom fell out of USDT? That'd be messy.
Well, it did happen.
Yeah.
On the 5th of the 12th, so quite recently, yeah, this month.
No,
what did that drop to?
I think USDT has shown that they have enough backing, and it's in different assets. So, or it might be USDC. I don't. I might be confusing the two now, but I'm pretty sure that
that's Coinbase.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's yeah. Well,
but Tether's out of the Bahamas. I think that's where they're based. So I don't know that they have ever, at least as far as I know. Does anyone know that's watching this if they've ever actually been audited? Because that's always been, a standing question that's held them under such scrutiny.
It's quite a long story, really. I doubt a 30-minute video could cover it. So yeah, we could look into it a bit more, I guess. But there is plenty of stuff happening around the metaverse constantly.
What else you got?
So this week, the Solana blockchain went 30 minutes behind the actual time. So this left stakers with less rewards just due to how it works, and it all comes down to like the wall clock time. So it sounds like quite a silly situation from just like the layman situation. Like
they entered a time warp.
Yeah, just put the clocks forward 30 minutes.
Well, you've got that's the challenge with all blockchains, especially all layer ones. That's what layer 2 is trying to solve for, is that with layer 1s, you've got the trilemma of security, scalability, and speed. I think those are the three. And Solana definitely has the speed, but when you have that, one of the others begins to break down, and security is one of those, which has always been a concern there. So it'll be interesting to to see what the future holds, especially as Solana gets tested more. The good news is, I think that as far as Solana being tested the way that they have, is that they continue to come back stronger with the past couple of outages they've had.
Yeah, as we get into Scream, this could become a bigger problem if we have to make these quick decisions. It really depends on what the gameplay is. And, I guess they would have factored in all of this stuff because all of these problems with Solana, they're not new. It's in beta and it's going to grow with Star Atlas. But yeah, I would guess downtimes like this would be designed into the game in a way that, at least at this level, where it wouldn't disrupt everything. At least I hope so.
Yeah, because I imagine that you're in the midst of gameplay and you're doing something strategically as a guild, that requires, timing. And then all of a sudden, network outages or there's congestion.
Yeah, that would really, really suck.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like allowing certain people in. It's like maybe half the people get turned away, but like the rest of them can just continue to play and like wreck everything. That'd be horrible.
Yeah. Or can you imagine like someone go on the defense? Man, they're attacking our base. Quick, a denial of service attack on Solana. Slow down the chain.
So yeah, that's it for news this week. There has been some stuff from Star Atlas. They've been away at Davos at the World Economic Forum. And yeah, I was quite hesitant when I read this initially, but it just seems like they are getting a new security firm that's like one of the best in the world at auditing and analysis to help ensure the integrity of the Star Atlas. And if you think about it, of all the, like, they're trying to build like a global financial system, so I can see why they would be meeting at the World Economic Forum. It does kind of make sense in a way. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what their angle is, other than, I mean, there's two things there. The World Economic Forum is one whole thing. That's a whole conversation. And then the audit for tightening up security, I think it's a smart play, especially for what they're trying to create. They're creating something with a long-term vision that's going to create, in essence, a virtual economy that functions very much like the real world economy, except probably better because it's trustless. I always think in terms of what Web3 is going to be, and when it becomes decentralized, is that it would, in a perfect world, it could technically replace the need for traditional corporations, replace the need for traditional governance and politics. So all of the development that's happening towards economies, be it virtual within a game world like Star Atlas, have real world implications. So I don't know what the reason is for being there, but yes, to me, it is still what they're creating is a big deal that spills out beyond the game metaverse.
Yeah, if they built this with just the United States in mind, then it wouldn't be a truly international game, and that's what the metaverse is aiming for, really. Andrew Howard, the CEO, he says Web3 is growing rapidly, and we are seeing more need for developing a security standard, which I think is really interesting. If Star Atlas can establish themselves as a safe platform to build on, then yeah, they'd have something really special.
But when I hear that, developing security standards, that can also be kind of a curveball for advanced levels of KYC, where you're getting more information from people to be able to see exactly what people are doing, trying to take anonymity away. I think there's still a place for that in blockchain. And I mean, that just, a lot of times that just equals an effort to try and control things that don't need to be controlled. So,
yeah. And one thing that made me wonder about this article is if they're signing new security firms, then that specialize in auditing, are they like re-auditing everything? Because that's what we've been hearing like all this time about what's happening. So yeah,
I guess I'd like to look up to see like that particular firm, like what other projects they've worked on. That would at least be a clue as to what their forte and background is.
Yeah, if they're like starting to audit now, then it might still be a while, honestly.
Right.
But everything would need to be perfect if it was going to be utilized by 1 million players by the end of the year, which is still, I think, an ambitious thing to say. So, yeah, they also had their marketing head of marketing at Davos doing a little talk, it looks like. Some of the comments on this one are quite interesting about I struggle to see in which way the World Economic Forum is giving power to the people. Like there is always those tweets on Twitter, especially with Star Atlas, where people are in the red right now if they're holding. So yeah.
And some people, will mention there of not liking Solana as a choice.
Yeah, it's definitely a controversial pick in the eyes of like cryptocurrency, especially if you're on Reddit. So yeah, this week they also have a new ship coming, I believe.
Yeah,
it's
got to be something within the rainbow, right?
I think it's an Agrica, really.
Okay, yeah. I guess it could be.
Yeah, and there's definitely like a person inside of there. You can see like the hands.
Oh yeah.
So it could be an escape pod of some sort, or it could be just like
maybe that's the pilot.
Mm-hmm.
You just get in and use your mind to navigate.
Yeah, I think it really looks like the Agrica Mick, just with these golden sharp curves.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, I'll be interested to see what this is. Another ship.
Well, then they'll also be interested to find out if any actually sell, because and this is just like one of my ongoing critiques of what the Star Atlas team is doing with regards to ships. They're flooding the market with ships when the community right now is not really growing enough to be able to support those new ships on the market. It's driving down horribly the price of all of the other ships. And then that Busan, which one is it? Yeah, Maidenheart. There's not a single one that's sold of all of the 375 that's available. Insane. Yeah. So, I mean, it kind of gives you an idea what market sentiment is right now. So why do that? I think that what marketing for Star Atlas should do, and again, I'm armchair quarterbacking here. I don't know all of the things that are at play on their end, but focus on growing your community with marketing and supporting the people that have already spent the money to buy ships rather than deflate the value of those ships in the market by flooding the market with new ships. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, if someone's coming in and they buy a Busan Maidenheart and they want to in future sell it, which is like one of the main things about being on blockchain, there aren't going to be many buyers compared to classes of the similar type. It's going to be quite hard in that situation once they're in to get out,
right?
Unless demand picks up again across all the ships. And yeah, I guess they would always have to sell it at or below origination price while they're still in stock, and then price would start to move like it did with all the original ships.
Yeah, but if marketing is driving the enthusiasm that's growing your community, then you're naturally going to create a market for the things that you sell. But you can't keep throwing stuff at the market if you're not growing your target market.
Yeah. It's a shame. There is a lot of cool ships, and I would like, for example, the Calico ATS.
Which one's that?
That's the big capital gun on the medium class ship. Yeah, this is one of my favorites, but if I was going to buy like a medium class ship, I'd buy like the Thimble Pack Light or something that's on sale right now.
Interesting. How big is
It
that?
looks really nice.
It does
Yeah,
look nice.
This came out a while ago, a couple ships ago, I believe.
That thing looks fast and maneuverable.
Yeah, this is a capital class gun on a medium class ship. It's kind of all just built around it.
Right?
Yeah,
Wow.
I'd feel safe with
Is that thing
this.
stationary or does it rotate? I wonder. It kind of looks like it might rotate.
All of the pictures are just stationary right now, but there might be some flying ones.
That
Wow,
thing is nuts.
kind of looks a bit not safe for work.
Looks like a well-hung mosquito.
See, yeah, I would love to buy this one.
92 meters in length. Spec'd as a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, only 2 people in it as well in a medium class ship. So much
Man.
of that space gets taken up.
To think about all the ships that'll be in existence, and then how many, I guess, companies or DAOs you want to say are going to be building any one of these ships in mass. You know, like what do you focus and hone on in as far as like what you build? Because there's going to be a bunch of different materials that you'll need for specific ships. So it just gets me thinking. There's so many ships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel sorry for people with land when there's things like this coming around.
And the other thing that's interesting about this is that the ships are no doubt aesthetically pleasing. They're beautiful. And so I can see, and I think it was a good call to develop the showroom so that people could literally go inside these ships and experience them in 3D space to really get a feel for them. Like that last video that we saw where it looks like you're flying over a ship, but it's actually just the turret of the Calico Guardian. And so, because we're a long way off from where we're actually going to be able to say, well, I have this ship and this ship has these special features, and that's what I like most about it. It's agile and I'm able to do this and that with it. We're a long way from that. Right now, we're about to enter the gameplay which is very Solaris-like, where the whole idea is that almost like 4X strategy, where you're being strategic with where you're placing ships, but I don't know how much of the specialty of each ship is going to come into play this early on.
Yeah, I agree, especially with so many of them and more ships coming in to compete.
Right.
I just meant as like that ship is quite threatening, and as more ships get developed, usually they just get crazier. Like in games where they have like a standard set of things, they just need to up themselves. So what are like the next 100 ships going to be like, and trying to defend something against them. That was my point.
And so where we stand now with ships, and do we know what was the total number they were expecting to release this year? Because we're literally almost halfway, another 30 days, and we're halfway through the year.
Yeah.
Q3 is literally 33 days out. Wow.
We're at 36 ships right now, I believe.
And the number was, do we know, was it like up there? Was it I can't place it. I was thinking it was like near 100.
Yeah, well, it's been about like once or every week or so, hasn't it? So with like 20 ships left of the year, like 20 weeks left of the year, it could be around 50-ish, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends.
A lot of ships. And again, seems like a strange thing to keep putting them on the market if people aren't buying right now.
Yeah, I think people might start getting salty if they release like more clothing or anything else.
Well, I did read something recently here. Maybe you guys can verify this because I didn't get the full scoop on it. There's going to be a snapshot taken of the existing badges, because I thought these badges were just honorary, the ones for how long your ship has been staked. But now it's my understanding that those badges now are going to come into play. And so as soon as they take the snapshot, whenever they take that, then you can pull your ship out of the fleet without consequence to do whatever you're going to do with it. Did you get that right? Or
yeah.
did I hear that correctly?
I'm trying to find the tweet by Michael Wagner, but he did say you do want to keep your ships, your badges. So it was something ambiguous like that a while ago. So they do have something in mind for it, but who knows when we'll see it. I hope I have enough time to get like the highest tier before then, especially if it's like a snapshot of one-time rewards.
Yeah.
It'd suck if you're like under by a couple days.
Any guesses as to how far out Scream is? So you think it'll take place in Q3, or will it be Q4? Will it make this year?
I think Q3 is quite fair to say. Yeah, it doesn't. We're going into Q2 in a couple days and still nothing. So yeah, one of our members, Winston, he was talking about going back and watching old videos and hearing Polis DAO confirmed from February 2022. He'd start chuckling.
It triggered.
So next week it's going to be all the COPA submissions that are going to be coming in. It's going to be interesting to see what everyone has. Might have a couple surprises. Who knows?
Any guesses as to how many entries there will be?
It depends. If there were more prizes, like rather than 3, I'd say there might be more participation. But yeah, because there is a lot of guilds.
Mm-hmm.
Will be cool to get members though, for just naturally from Star Atlas, like in a formal way, instead of like all the Discord invite link spamming that happens right now.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that might be it with Star Atlas for this week, unless you guys have anything else.
No, sir.
Well, not exactly, but yeah, we're definitely gonna be on top of that Copa, and stay tuned. We'll definitely be more communicative on that in the weeks to come.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, we're moving on to Alluvium then, and then I'll hand over to you, Ray.
Cool.
So soon there's going to be the Alluvium land releasing June the 2nd, so I think 3 days away now. And yes, a 3-day event, and the prices are quite steep, but it's a Dutch auction, so they're going to reduce it as people don't buy them, then they'll get cheaper and cheaper until someone does.
How many of each tier?
Total plots in first sale 1,219. 20, yeah. And then 5,012 for tier 2, 2,000 for tier 3, 870 tier 4, and then 2 tier 5s. That's an English auction. What's that?
Oh, that's 12,000 for the first one. Okay, so yeah.
So
I'll try. I'm probably going to try and snatch one of those up of the tier 1s.
the English auction is the standard type where bids are placed that increase the price until the auction time limit is reached. Okay. Yeah, so they have quite a cool TLDR version here. And yeah, one of the most interesting things I've read here is that connecting adjacent land, if you have more than one, will form like a mega city between two. So, yeah. Landowners can generate a residual income by playing a fun game that rewards them for their time. Players extract fuel from tier 1 to 5 land, which is connected to the economy of Alluvium that can be sold for ETH. Players use fuel as a currency in all future Alluvium game releases. And yeah, this is going to be quite fun, I guess, if you have the funds. I wonder if there's going to be like a version where people who, well, you're going to be able to rent your lands, so I guess everyone will be able to play it, but free to play unless you have a friend might be unlikely.
Right.
Everyone's waiting for the survival game and like their open world. But yeah, this is going to be a decent way for them to raise funds.
So that raises a question. So, and I kind of was giving some thought about this over the past week. So one of the things that's going to potentially drive the sale is people having the ability to use either ETH or SILV. And SILV is the in-game version of the ILV token. So when you right now, for anyone that's staked in ILV, your ILV that you get as a reward gets locked up for an entire year. And I think like some of my first releases are like coming up in August, maybe something like that. So with SILV, you can take your rewards in that instead, and you can use SILV to purchase this land. Then the land sits on Immutable X as an NFT. So does that mean now that you can then have a way to sell an Illuvium asset on the secondary market for the first time? So it'll be interesting to see what happens and how many of those go up for sale, just because people are able to use some of their staked earnings to be able to buy land and then be able to cash out.
Yeah, I reckon the price has quite the potential to go quite down if there isn't a lot of demand for it. Because if people are waiting on the Dutch auction that are not buying it early, then it will go really cheap. And then if you can't sell the NFT, that would just dump the price even more from like the lowest Dutch auction price that it went for. So
that'll be the telltale, as if you're able to get it on the secondary market for cheaper than what you're able to get it for in the actual land sale.
Yeah. And if Illuvium really does pop off, then that could be like a really great pickup.
Exactly.
Because I know people really hate long lockups, and this could be an interesting way to get out of it. So there was like backlash against this online. This is just one of them that we pulled up, and he says they can't be serious with these prices. I can't imagine this game seeing mass adoption if they continue to extract as much as possible from their community wallets. Any other game that has had such initial asset sales this high?
Well, especially during a time like this, and then switching it. Yeah.
I think it would make more sense if it was really clear what the earning potential is on land. Now, granted, they did say that 5% of, is going to go towards landowners, but we still don't know what that means. We don't know if that means that, if they've done a pretty good job in the past with kind of like sharing some of the mechanics of, like for example, how their DAO and their staking, all that model is pretty cool. I think they've done some stuff that is kind of groundbreaking and some first time stuff. So if they want to sell land for this much, especially in this market, I think they should do a better job of saying, hey, here's how it's going to be used and what you'll be able to do with it, because we're about nearing the end of that whole time of here, buy an NFT and don't worry about what the utility is. Don't look under the hood. We'll just worry about that later. I think we're nearing the end of that with projects. This last crypto season of with the bull run, I think it was was the window of time for NFTs being sold without really having an understanding of what the utility is.
Yeah, I'm not sure we'll see another Bored Ape Yacht Club again unless the celebrities just will get together and pick one.
Right.
So here's a trailer for the land in Illuvium.
My question is, why did they use a $sign right there as a symbol for earning? Yeah, it does have that Command and Conquer vibe for sure. So again, it's like you see when they first popped up, they showed a $sign. This is a blockchain game. Why are you showing $signs for a display of value of earnings? That's weird.
So they also had a cool video uploaded where they just kind of walk through all the different lands they have. I didn't have any specific bit lined up, but this is
that they call
the
the Brightland
Brightland Steps.
And you can actually try and get up there, but you have to find a way to get up there. It's not going to be as easy, but it's probably going to be something cool up there, you know. So
hint.
Might be worth a try.
Yeah. So first one to parkour up there, record it and tweet it at us. I'm sure you find something interesting. Maybe we're not making.
Sounds like a job for Rome.
And then here's the mausoleum. An interesting name.
Are there any trees to climb?
The bubbles earlier. The bubbles are just out in this sort of more open space within Brightland.
There's an hour and 40 minutes of
And
this.
those
it's
do not
crazy.
exist in the same areas where the parachute.
It's pretty intense.
So
yeah, a lot of
the
stuff going on in the
Tell us about
background.
why it's called the mausoleum.
Well, if you look really closely, you see an actual gigantic skeleton grown over.
Where's the skeleton?
If you can see it. In the middle
Oh,
of
I see it way up there in the middle.
Page, and then all the way at the end, there's
Oh yeah, I do see it. Yeah,
And,
yeah. Right over here. So it's obviously
yes.
kind of blending in. It's right here. Here's the
Yes.
skull.
Let's skip
Here's
forward a bit.
as their own character, you know. And Southern Passage is the most calm and welcoming one. It's
Very Avatar-esque right here.
fairly flat.
agree.
It's not too difficult, and it's just a nice place to be, basically. So let's try and build this into the game, and then eventually, at some point, I think Emil and Vanya, or environment artists, Dimitri, Grant, of course, work on it, and at some point, like literally, this image can be replicated in game, so you can actually walk here.
Yeah,
and
a lot of cool stuff going on over there, and
Nice.
it's really impressive. They can fill up just such a long video.
I think that one of the things I like about Illuvium as a project is the way that they have crafted the look and feel of the world. The color palette, you know, the way that they've created the plants, the creatures, just the whole look and feel. Like I said, very Avatar-esque, a lot of it, for sure.
Yeah, and I really love like maps
like
and
a
video
giant
games.
landlocked area, and it's like a coral reef kind of place that's above.
Yeah.
So based on that, what you just showed there with all those land plots, with this Dutch auction, is it going to be a random distribution? If you buy a land plot, do you get a reveal at a later date as to where your land sits, or are you actually able to know that ahead of time?
I am not too sure. This is the Illuvidex, and it does show tiers as well.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched the whole video, but yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah. We'll see how the sale goes with the land.
Yeah, a lot of their information is just hidden away in all these videos and long streams.
Right.
So it's going to be exciting when all this stuff is going to get properly marketed, not just land.
Right. Well,
Man, we're just chomping at the bit, waiting for one of these projects to pop.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Last thing is just a nice little screenshot of a close-up in the land.
So that I mean, that raises another question. So let's say that you own a plot of land. Then do you have, like, where do the options come from that where you get to decide what is on the land and how it's to be utilized? You know, do you decide if I mean, is it only certain land that can hold an arena? Is it other land that you're going to put mining resources on, or something that gathers resources? Yeah.
Yeah. Since it's priced out of my range, I haven't spent too much time looking at it, really.
For the people, man. Got to get up on it for the people.
Yeah, I'm interested too, as many others would too. Were wanting to know, like, how much you would potentially even make with land in alluvium. Like, sometimes it's not worth it, other than just flipping land, depending on the demand of the land. As we see in past projects, where it's just like not many land projects or projects that have sold land. You're not really able to make anything on it yet. Maybe
Right.
some crypto unicorns, but the token economies of these projects are not the greatest right now, with the overall market being the way it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also I mean, the market is one thing, but the other thing is that this is new. Building a functional game economy that can withstand the test of time. We've seen a lot of flash in the pans that had great ideas, and then they kind of like lost momentum or were impacted by the market. But will there be something? That's the other question too. At what point will a project break away from the hold of Bitcoin? It will GameFi at some point have an economy within itself that is so strong, be it Star Atlas, be it something in the Galaverse, if they ever get their crap together, Axie, if they turn the corner and say, hey, here's who we are now and we're ready to do something. Any of these projects, I think Alluvium, their leadership team, the way that they structured their DAO, the way they have their Illuminati, where the people are actually having a say in what happens. I think there's some potential good models on the horizon, but nothing has been proven yet to be a functional, long-lasting virtual economy. So this is all just big tests.
I agree. Yeah.
Buying land for the art. Exactly. Yes. Land for the art.
We collect art here in the metaverse.
Speaking of Gala, don't they have a Galaverse going on end of next week? I think it starts the 6th, something like that. It's in Copenhagen. Do we have Gala news?
Well, we have the golden ticket that I think has been airdropped now, but none of us have spun the wheel yet, so not too much to talk about that.
Yeah. How many are you watching?
Excited to see what happens and what I might win.
And did you guys all get one ticket? Do you have 2 tickets?
I think you can get more than one ticket if it's criteria. It's one's for buying something from Gala, and then one's for having something from Gala.
But then they said below that 1 per account, and then I saw that, but then I have 2, and I don't know how I ended up with 2. So, I don't know what the criteria was, but I haven't spun the wheel for my 0.00001% chance of getting that farming hamlet. Yeah, that was my understanding too, and somehow
maybe there's 2 ways of getting it. Cool.
Maybe that was my first ever node drop. I'll have to go back and look. That would be the first thing in over a year that I ever got as a result of being a node holder. So who knows? And then also Gala did end up with another game. They've got another game that they just got the unanimous node vote approval for. Yeah, that second ticket. Hey, you know what? If I end up with the farming hamlet, then that second ticket made up for all the times that I didn't get a no drop of any kind. I would be incredibly happy. That would make up for all of it. So what that means, by the way, the reason I brought up Galaverse is that I think the last thing that McCarthy mentioned, and I should probably double check that to make sure I'm talking the truth here, is that he said something along the lines of Miranda's discussion. Where are you? He said something about within the next 2 weeks is when they were going to spin the wheel and when the server test was going to take place. Almost positive that that's what I understood from his communication.
Yeah, I think they did say Q2, or it might have been Q3. They skipped
Here it is.
Q1.
He shared this 2 days ago. Hey guys, quick note about the Wheel of Fate and the playtest timing. The Wheel of Fate will go live, then we will give everyone 2 weeks to claim their prizes. So if you have tickets in your wallet, you've got 2 weeks to claim them. Who knows? Maybe they'll burn the tickets. You know, as where nothing ever has gotten burned in the past when they said they're going to burn it. Maybe this time they will. They'll burn the tickets. So you got 2 weeks to use.
At least not when they said they would burn it.
Right. After about 2 weeks, we'll take a snapshot and the play test will go live. This will give people a chance to collect the exemplars and Goblin Fortune cards on the wheel. So I don't even know what a Goblin Fortune card does, but there's like those things are kind of like your, the prize that most everyone is going to get is some Goblin cards rather than all the prizes that people actually want. So it'll be interesting. So that means there's a playtest coming up and another opportunity to earn some Materium. And where is Materium now, by the way? Materium. Coin market cap. 17 cents. Materium came strong out the gate at just over $1 on day one, and then dropped down, hovered in the 60s for a while, went back up to 80, and then now it's sitting down around 17 cents. There you go.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what that does in the next, and the Goblin card. Be funny to see if people who don't have a Goblin card are like disadvantaged somehow. Like they win an elf, but they don't get a Goblin card, and they're mad. That'd be funny.
Maybe if you have a Goblin card, all of your arrows that you're shooting during this playtest are +2.
It'll probably be this 100 Materium per card.
Not everyone can be a winner.
Anything else?
Yeah, Ray, do you have anything?
Yeah, I kind of put together. I have a mini delay here, so I hope I'm just coming in clear.
Yeah, you
But
are.
I'm going to share my screen real quick.
Perfect.
And talk on. Is it sharing? What's going on here?
Okay, thanks, K-Nat. Yeah, apparently that is what it does. 100 Materium per Goblin card.
There we go. Entire screen. Choose what tab. This window, please. Can you pull up? Can you bring me up to the front, or is that? There we go.
Whoa!
All right.
Inception.
So it was an Axie developer chat that took place on the 18th, and I'm just pulling from the Discord here on the announcements, but there wasn't much spoken on in detail from what I remember when I was listening to it, and the origin progress has been hustling and bustling, so there's a lot of nerfs and buffs and patches that are taking place on all the different cards, which is great. There's things happening somewhere, but on the Ronin Bridge, it's been postponed to mid-June. So for all of you holding onto your funds there and you can't get off the Ronin chain in the US, so just hold tight. Maybe by mid-June we'll be able to take your money off. And then land staking, of course, which is promising. Although there's the market overall in the slumps, I look forward to being a land earning some off of the land that I've bought and held for so long. But yeah, then they announced Barcelona AxieCon, so it's going to be the first official from the September 7th to the 10th in Barcelona, Spain. So that's going to be pretty cool if anyone makes it out there. I'm still debating. It's going to be for 3 days. 3 days of Axie Magic. So don't forget, you don't want to miss out on the magic. But yeah, those are the two big takeaways, I think. And here we go, some of the major improvements and bug fixes to the game. And by far, the game is just not as bad as a lot of other projects and what they have to play with. I personally do like to play the game, but yeah. So there was a championship tournament going on in Brazil, and they just concluded that, and there was a winner and celebratory events and all that. But the esports scene is definitely growing in the Axie Infinity world. But I do want to hop over to Block Lords. So this is a game or a project I've been keeping my eye out on, and it's a strategy MMO medieval Final Fantasy type gameplay mechanics. I'm just browsing, I'm just scrolling down here through the website, and they just closed the $15 million round or fundraise. I'll get to it now into their Discord announcements, because they were covered by Business Insider, New York Times, I think, a whole bunch of crypto websites like crypto what is it called now?
Animoca, man, they got their hands
Animoca.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of them, some of these people that you'll see are all over the place as far as investing in different projects, but they just partnered with Immutable X. So if we just hop over here, this was a great, I would call it an AMA with the co-founder and CEO of the project itself, and you get a lot of information there. It's pretty lengthy, so if you have the time, check that out. And then, of course, the Immutable Block Lords partnership, and they're talked about on some prominent crypto YouTube channels as an upcoming game to look out for. And here we go with the 15 million in seed funding. That's what it was, led by Makers Fund and Bitcraft. Yeah, it's an interesting game. The Discord is open. There's a mini game in the Discord that you can play. Yeah, I'm interested, and I'm just sharing the news. So I've been sharing it in the projects tab in our Discord. So if you want to talk more on it, you can hop in there.
I like the look.
Yeah, the look is pretty sweet. But this is just a random tab. But yeah, just quickly over to DeFi Kingdoms. It's been, not talked about as much as other projects in the space, but I commend the team for being one of the most transparent next to, I would say, Star Atlas, as far as everything we know of. If you just know of Star Atlas and its team, being communicative, being out there, sharing, constant updates. It never ends with DeFi Kingdoms, and although the markets are crap and token prices are not what we'd want them to be, there's still projects that are developing and building and releasing updates on what they, were working on all this time.
How are they weathering the storm? Yeah, DeFi Kingdoms. How are they doing now with market turn and like daily active users and things like that? How's the community faring?
Yeah, as far as the funding to keep the project going, it was before the markets even took a tank. They had secured since last November at the market's highs enough money for 10 years. So that's been talked about since months on end before the markets even took a dump, and even before the X-Jewel exploit took place, which since it's been resolved. So they're here for the long haul. They have the funding, and I've been with the project for a while now, and they just continually, I guess, give me the confidence to believe in them. Whereas other projects I've been a part of for longer than DeFi Kingdoms have kind of slacked in that area. So the communication is there, and it's the least you can do in times like this, when the confidence is at an all-time low, if anything, with certain projects you might be involved in. So, and then community-wise, you have the whole melting pot of community members, those who are just in it for the money, and then those who are complaining about every new update or release, and if it's even necessary, and all the energy devs are putting into this should be going to that, and why isn't this happening over that, and why haven't we heard of this over that? And we have the economists in the community that continually just talk, which is needed and wanted, on Twitter, but also in the Discords. on the token prices and speculation, and how and when the prices will go up, depending on macro and micro things. But at the end of the day, if you're wanting to play NFT metaverse games of any kind, and you just pick the ones you like, you stick with them in the long haul. You might have been you might be down, or you might just be entering. That doesn't mean any of these projects aren't gonna keep developing, as their livelihoods are also at stake on some level. But yeah, many variables to cover to answer
So
that.
there's that whole, and we've had this conversation on the show a few times about in it for the money. And here's the thing about that. There's a lot of great games on Steam. I could have all kinds of fun time playing multiplayer games, playing solo games, playing until my heart is full of joy from playing games. If you spend over $100 and you're playing a game on blockchain, a big portion of the reason you're there is for the money.
Sure.
Would anyone?
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, that's the.
Anyone dispute that? I mean,
Mhm.
I would say it's right. Oh.
Well, it kind of raises the stakes of gameplay.
Yeah,
it does. I mean,
I guess
you
there's
have
cons and pros.
Yeah, real money does bring an element to it to where you feel like, okay, this has a certain element of realism to it because there's more risk. That risk brings with it more of a sense that my decisions, I have to put more effort into my decisions because there's greater consequence. Sure. So it does up the level of gameplay, but when there's like a line though. It's like you can spend, like, what is the average game on Steam? A high-end game, if you buy all the bells and whistles, $60, $70 maybe, a top game. In the crypto space, I mean, what did we just saw? We just saw land going for 2 ETH. Nobody's buying land for 2 ETH if they're not in it for the money. They're just not.
Right.
Yeah.
A reasonable return on investment, for sure, is needed.
That is something Star Atlas has done
but yeah,
well.
so talking about Star Atlas has definitely been on top of that. But at the end of the day, a lot of what was said that we or core community members and people who've hung around through the ups and downs of the market or any project, we kind of keep to those words that we've heard first when it came to any staking rewards or APYs and levers that are pulled to keep the tokens that we're all or NFTs that we're all purchasing competitive, I guess, in price, where there's a return. But again, nothing potentially can be fulfilled as far as promises in the space. So I guess a lesson to those who might just think it could be done with a snap of a finger. But yeah, as far as DeFi Kingdom is concerned, they just released pets, and for every egg that you had, which you could buy in the secondary, and it's on chain, you would be able to hatch them, and they would boost the stats of your heroes if you had any or have any. And there's going to be DeFi K duels coming out, so you'll be able to face other players in PvP. And so far, it's going to be a 2D type of card, as the heroes are cards, but they're going to 3D model everything, and so in different over time, the modules are going to be released, and you're going to have more of a actual game-like type of viewing of your duels instead of the typical card games type of fashion we've seen in the space so far. So I'm pretty excited for that. And then Geno Pets is another walk to earn type of project that some might know of on Solana, and they came out with their Gene token staking, where you would earn key, and then the key could be used to upgrade or to trade off and to sell. But they also released pets, and they also I guess are doing some collabs with Nyan Heroes, which is that trailer we played, I guess 3 weeks ago. And they created their own avatar for them in a Geno pet for the Nyan cat NFT, if you want to call it that. But yeah, pets are out for Geno. The staking is live. Here we go. So these are the Nyan cat type of NFTs that you'd have in your robotic, mech for your cat in Nyan Heroes, and this is just the specific Geno one of one that people could, I guess, auction and try to own with how much they auction. So yeah, they have land, they have staking. You'll earn by walking. The pets are out. The staking is alive for the Gene token, and it's a project again that's been in the space even before Steppen came out as it blew up before Genopets. But yeah, just check out AMAs, keep up to breast with what's going on in the projects that you are interested in, and this is just one of those that I'm interested in, as well as Undead Blocks. The beta is live. You can play, and we'll be able to play together as friends soon enough. But their staking for their token is live, and in turn you get a NFT pack with weapons to play the game. And if you don't, you'll still be able to play. It's free, but you'll only have, I think it's a pistol and a knife. So the beta has been released. So this is just me scrolling down to May 23rd. But since then, it's been live, and you're gonna have to create an account on Wagyu, and then you can download the game. And they've been partnering with PokeStarter, and they've been doing a lot. So you can also check out their Discord announcements. And but you definitely have to make an account with Wagyu, and then you'll be able to download the game and start playing. So,
is there a play to earn mechanic in the beta, or is it just to kind of test the platform?
I'm not totally sure. That's a good question, but I'm sure you're gonna be able to. Yeah, I'm not going to speak on that. So definitely, it's to test the platform as a beta, but not sure about the earning potential yet.
Yeah, the gameplay did look good in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and there is a new trailer, so I could probably play this. And let's see if the volume's up. This came out.
I think you get the volume.
Is there any volume?
No, I think you missed it. Yeah, not for us. There isn't. No.
All right. Yeah. So when I was always sharing my screen, but yeah, some eerie sounds.
Yeah.
Definitely check out the trailer, and it's entertaining to say the least.
Yeah, Ra says there's no P2.
But yeah, these are the projects that I'm.
That will be in June or July.
Okay, right. So no. Perfect. Thanks for that. And yeah, so these are the projects that are closest to or the most entertaining on my end. Not so much investment and financial advice,
Right.
but these are the ones that I'm most interested in or have been for a while. And it's about time we're able to do something with what we've bought in some way, versus then just clicking. So Star Atlas is on that list as well, but we cover that in general before I get to my piece here. So that's all I have for you guys.
Cool.
Let's unshare this. Yeah.
Cool. Is that are we out of news?
Yeah, there wasn't too much this week. Hopefully the team will be back from their company retreat, and we'll get some more alpha.
Yeah, I think that next weekend, like I said, Gulliver's kicks off. The playtest kicks off. We'll be spinning the wheel, so there'll be some news there. The land sale takes place on Thursday this week for Alluvium, so that we'll be able to share with you what happened there, and yeah, and whatever else gets dropped in the way of lore or anything else from Star Atlas. But like you said, if they're out for the week, we may not have any news from them. But that's it. Been a bit of a slow week. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Again, always. Actually, we have a guest next week, don't we?
Yeah, Lumina from Coexist.
That's right. That's right. So you guys don't want to miss that. And
the largest Turkish Star Atlas guild.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of you may have seen his little tutorial game that he's demonstrated before. But yeah,
Real
hopefully we'll be able to see that.
Cool.
For sure.
All right. So with that, you guys got any final words?
See you next week, the same time. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Same
have
time.
fun. Have fun in Goblin Town, and try not to get wrecked even further.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, we will see you guys same time next week, same bat channel. Stay safe out there. And yeah, if you guys have any recommendations for guests to have on the show or projects that you're into that you want us to cover, by all means, do let us know. And with that, we'll catch you later.
Atlas.
Later, guys.
Atlas Miner, you were born to push the block in search of ore. And now it's time that you are gone, so farewell, Atlas Miner. And farewell, Mud and ONI too. Who's the sector same to you? The pirate bastards ran him through, so farewell, Atlas Miner. They promised you a diamond mine, but I'll be damned, it's hard to find. I hope there's justice for their crimes, and farewell, Atlas Miner. Farewell, friend, don't take it hard. Getting killed ain't all that bad. They'll treat you well in the repair yard, so farewell, Atlas Miner.
Are you ready for the next evolution in gaming? Blockchain games are here. Why just play when you can play to earn? Enter the Star Atlas Metaverse with Rome. Star Atlas is a grand strategy game of space exploration, territorial conquest, political domination, and so much more. Rome is a premier guild of the ONI Faction within Star Atlas. Rome is here to play and to earn. Want to take part in the action? Rome is accepting new citizens. Join the Rome Guild on Discord to learn more at gorome.io.